Good morning, students. Welcome to today's video session of part 4 of directing in our business studies. We have learned in the previous part what is directing and the elements of directing. In the continuation of elements of directing, today we are going to discuss about the left after two, leadership and communication. Now let's move on to what is leadership. We hear the word that leader. Whenever there is a success, then automatically it points out towards the leader. So there will be a leader for any organization or any teamwork. There should be a leader. Leader is a person who guides the teammates to reach the goal in a easy way. When you talk about Microsoft, immediately the leader of Microsoft, Bill Gates, only comes to your mind. Likewise, there are so many leaders in every organization. It is important that we should know the concept of leadership, the qualities of a good leader. The leadership is the process of influencing the behavior of people by making them strive voluntarily towards the achievement of the organizational goal. There are many definitions for leaderships given in our textbook. Very famous statement by George Terry is leadership is the activity of influencing people to strive willingly for group objective. Please note that it is willingly. So not by forcing. A good leader is a person who has to motivate the people and make his teammates to willingly participate into the action. So this clearly depicts the picture of a leader. The leadership is the ability of an individual to maintain a good interpersonal relationship with the others one. So only the followers will follow him properly, and he is able to motivate the followers to achieve the organizational objective. Now let's discuss about the features of leadership. We said that a leader is a important key person of a team, so he should have the influence of the behavior of others. He should have that ability to influence the behavior of others. He should definitely have developed the skills of interpersonal process. He or she should able to motivate their teammates to achieve the target, to motivate them whenever there is a requirement. They should have a good interpersonal uh, skills and attainment of common organizational goals, not only individual. The leader should take the entire team to achieve the target. And the leadership is a continuous process. It has to follow for a long time. It is a keep on process, and it is a group process. You may wonder that why it is a group process, because we are talking about a leader means a person. See, always a leader cannot identified only with a single person. How his followers are. A good leader is a person who develop good the confidence among his followers. So a good leader is identified not only with the leadership quality of a person, also with its teammate. Many followers should relate the skills like knowledge, commitment, cooperate, team spirit. All this is followed by a team, then only it will make a person to a effective leader. So it is said that the followers make a good leader by accepting the leadership. So it is to be recognized that both a follower and a leader play a key role. That's why we are saying features of a leadership is a group process. Importance of leadership. There are so many importance. Now we are going to discuss only the six factors. Initiating action. Leader is a person who has to voluntarily do the action. He should not wait for an opportunity. He has to grab on his way. He is the person who has to initiate the action, and he has to provide motivation. The self motivation as well as the group motivation of his team should be provided by him, and he should provide a key guidance. Key providing a guidance mean he has to person who has to identify the key aspect change in that, and he has to motivate his teammates to accept if there is any new change in the environment, and he has to clarify their doubt. He has to inspire the people to accept the changes, and creating confidence. by making the people to accepting the challenges. He has to give the he has to create the confidence among that they can complete the task. And he should be a good coordination, because there will be a lot of individuals collected together. Everyone have their own point of view. A leader is a person who has to coordinate among all, and he has to tackle the inter stuff conflicts among the department. He has to tackle it. He should be a good person who has to always allow the followers to ventilate their feelings. And he should be a good trainer. Whatever the changes initiated or introduced by the management, the leader is a person who has to readily accept that particular change, and he has to give training for his teammates. If there is any mistake done by the teammate, it has to be corrected and guided properly, and motivated the person can be done only with the leadership quality. So we can say for all these points are very important for a leadership, that he has to initiate action, has to provide motivation, has to provide guidance, he has to create confidence, and he has to create coordination, and he should be a good trainer. Now let's discuss the qualities of a good leader. We said that why we need a leader, how he has to be, and the qualities of leader. Physical quantity. The first one is physical quantity. He should possess a good health, good appearance, so he can work. He by appearance he can influence the other. By the maintenance of good health, yeah, and endurance, help a leader to work hard and inspire others to do that thing also. And knowledge. A good leader possesses a record knowledge and competence in that area, so he can easily influence his teammates. Integrity. The leader should possess a high level of integrity and honesty, so that he can be serve as a role model to others. Initiative. Already we saw that he should have a courage and initiative to do things on his own, rather than waiting for the others to come and order to him. Communication skill. He has to be a good communicator. He has to explain clearly his view to others, either from order from the management to subordinate, or the problem of his subordinate to the management. The communication should be very effective. He should not only a good speaker. Please note that the communication here means he should not only a good speaker. He should be a good listener, good trainer, good counselor, and a good teacher. Motivation skill. A leader should understand the need of his employees and to motivate them by satisfying their needs. It can be a word of appreciation. It can be a approval of some time holiday for them. Everything is a motivation skill. Self-confidence. Leader should have a high level of confidence. He should not lose confidence even in the most difficult times. He should have that confidence. Then only he can influence his team and motivate them also in the right way. Decisiveness. A leader must be decisive in the sense that one, he has to take on a decision. He should firm on that. He should not change his decision on every time. That is, time to time. His decision should not be influenced by others. He has to think about what can be, how it will be working out. He has to be very clear in his decisive making. Once the decision is making, he has to be firm on it. Social skill. A leader should be sociable and friendly with with his colleagues, follower, so he can understand them in a better, and he can work on their need also. Now let's look on to the leadership styles. When we talk about leader, we said that what can be his function, what is his qualities, right? So here we are going to learn about the three different leadership styles. The first one is autocratic or authoritarian. By the name itself, we can conclude that autocratic means he exercises the complete control over uh, his complete control over his fellow mates. See, look into the diagram. There is a point called A from that so many lines joining to B, C, D, E. Okay, here A is the leader and he is giving guidance or he is dictating the others to do. There is no opposite flow of communication, only A to the subordinates, A to the teammates only. The control is given. So he gives orders and expects the subordinates to follow the order. It allows one way communication only, and the subordinate acts only according to the command given by the leader. The second one is democratic, or we can say in simple terms, participative leader. See in the diagram, it is like a group. A is the leader. Around him, there are so many things are there. A is one part of the outermost circle also. So, a democratic leader, he will uh, take decision only after consulting with his fellow subordinates. This leadership style is more common and very popular as it ensures the achievement of goal when they are set with the acceptance of subordinate themselves. A democratic leader provides freedom of thinking and listen to the suggestions or grievances or complaints from his fellow teammates. So he is the one who will participate in the discussion. Then only he will come to a decision and that it will be exercised among his teammates. It is a very common and popular style of leadership. The third one is called a laissez-faire. This word is taken from French, that is a free rein leader. See in the diagram, a leader is a one who is watching what is the teammates are doing. There is a communication, there is a linking between B, C, D, E, everything. So it involves complete delegation of authority. So he gives the subordinate themselves to take decision. This leader avoids holding power and surrenders the authority to subordinate. He serves as a link who helps in bringing the information and resources needed by the subordinate. There is no that laissez-faire means there is no interference in the affairs of others. Thus, he will make his subordinate to exercise their decision making skill. He will look into that. He will just stand outside and look into their decision. Whenever there is a requirement at the time of needy only, he will interfere into that and he will correct. 99.99% he won't interfere into that their decision. Just he act as a communication channel between the employer and the teammates. These are all the leadership styles. Now we'll move on to the next part of elements of directing is communication. We know that everywhere, whether it is in supervisor or it is a motivation or it is in a leadership, the term communication is there. So it is a process of exchange of ideas and views among two persons or more persons to create a common understand. Effective communication only makes the people to understand. A leader should be very effective in communication. Why? Then only his what is his thought can be understood by the followers and they will achieve that. It plays a very vital role in the success of any manager. How much professional knowledge that a person possesses also, it becomes immaterial if he is not able to communicate effectively with his subordinate and create understanding in them. Directing abilities of a manager mainly depend upon his communication skills only. That's why organization always emphasize on improving communication skills of managers as well as for the employees also. Now we are looking at the communication process. The picture shows how that communication process is going on like a flow chart from sender to encoding, then message, then there is a noise, decode, receiver, response, feedback. It is a process. So it should start from sender to the receiver and again back to sender. So this is the communication process everywhere it is following. This process involves many elements: source, encode, receiver, decode, everything. Let's discuss about the elements in the communication process. Sender. The person who conveys the message is called as sender. Message. What is the subject matter of communication? So it can be an information or it can be an opinion. It can be an some order passed through manager from the uh, superior to the employees. So it can be any type of matter of communication. Encoding. The sender translates the message into words, gestures, or some symbols which he feel like that the receiver will understand the message after that. So it may be it is depending on the communication of the person, that is the sender, how he has to soften the voice, how he has changed his body gesture to communicate that. Everything comes here in the encoding. Next is channel or media. The encoded message is transmitted through some medium, that is the means of communication. It can be a direct, we can call that person one on one, and we can say it can be passed through a paper of note, or it can be passed through a telephonic conversation. So this is the channel. Decoding, it means the process of conversion of symbol into message by the receiver, whether the message is received properly by the receiver. Receiver, that is the end of the person to whom the sender is sending the message, is called receiver. And feedback, feedback is starting from receiver end to sender. The receiver sends his response, whether he is accepting that or not, or what is the difficulty he is facing by that subject matter. Everything will be sent as a feedback to the sender. And there is a, in between there is a part called noise. It means some obstruction or hindrance to the communication. It can be caused to sender, message, or receiver. For example, if they are talking in a telephone, there will be a proper uh, in the telephonic conversation, there may be a poor signal. Due to that, the conversation become a very poor one. An inattentive receiver or a faulty decode. All these can be comes as a noise. That means some trouble created between sender and the receiver. These are all the process of the communication. Next, we should know about why the communication is very important. We said that it does act as a basis of coordination and cooperation, because all the elements of directing based on the communication. So it should be act as a basis of coordination as well as the cooperation. It increases the efficiency of any managerial skill. It helps in smooth working of an organization. It promotes cooperation in the and also it will bring the interpersonal conflicts to a less level. So it will create a organizational peaceful, and it is the one which create the effective leadership, and it helps in the process of motivation and morale, and also it acts as a basis of decision making. So because of all these things, the communication is very important. And there are two types of communication. The first one is a formal one, and second one is an informal one. In the formal one, it is further subdivided into vertical formal communication, horizontal and diagonal, whereas the informal communication is only one as gray point. Now let's look on to the formal channel of communication. It refers to formal means it is taking place through official channel in an organization. It can be a oral communication or it can be a written communication. There are certain types of communication channels also followed here. See, you can see some pictures on your screen. So it is a chain from only one way, from top to bottom or bottom to top, the communication is moved. That is a chain pattern. Here we are talking about single chain. It is from only one direction. Either generally communication orders is possessed only from, we know that chain is top to bottom. So single chain is a top to bottom. There is a wheel. There is a, from a center of a person, it can be moved to different departments. And circular, it can be communicated either from A to E or from E to A. It can be in any circle. See, A, B, C, D, E, it can be followed A, B, C, D, E, A, or it can be followed as A, E, D, C, B. So it can be either in clockwise, anti-clockwise, in any direction. The circular network can be followed. Yeah, free flow network is simply opposite to circular. In circular, we have certain position to follow the geometric shape from one person to next person. Whereas in the free flow, it can be moved from any person to any person. That is called free flow. And inverted V. So this is also one of the pattern, that inverted V. It will also the subordinate allowed to communicate with the immediate superior as well as his supervisor superiors also. So it is only a prescribed communication takes place. There are, if there is any fault on the any instrument or any working place, any instruments difficulties can be communicated to immediately to the superior or superior's superior. So it will be followed in a very small areas only. The percentage of this type of communication taking place is a very less and limited one. Now we'll move on to the informal communication. We call that as a grapevine. We know that how a bunch of grapes will be. Likewise, it's like a cluster. It can be also identified with a many popular different styles of network. This informal communication takes place in an organization without following the formal line of communication. It is called a single strand communication network, gossip network, probability network, and cluster network. Here also the single strand can be one department to another department. Gossip network means from one person to it is reaching 5%. Each individual is passing that to a different persons. Probability network. So from one particular person to how many, what is the number of probability of the message can be passed through that. And a cluster of network. It is a group. Very easily it can be reached to the other people easily. So these are all the some of the informal communication. Student, we must note that whether the next part of our lesson, that is communication barrier and effective communication, is removed from the syllabus. As per the latest circular from CBSE, they have removed certain parts. They have deleted certain portions for our board examination. So effective communication and the barriers of communication is removed from our syllabus. Students, with this we are completing the topic chapter directing, and we have learned in our chapter 7 directing what is the meaning of directing, what are its characteristics, why it is very important, and what are the principles of directing. Along with that, we have learned the elements of directing in terms of supervision, motivation, leadership, and communication. So go through all these topics one more time repeatedly in your textbook. Try to answer the book back question and discuss the case studies. Try to prepare the homework as usual preparation of MCQ. Thank you, children.